Hi there, my name's Paul Schofield and I'm the author of When Mummy Goes to Work and When Daddy Goes to Work, illustrated by Terreros-Martin and published in America by Kane Miller. I was inspired to write these books after the birth of my first son, Joel. I had a wonderful 2 weeks with him on paternity leave, but it just flew by and then it was back to work. For me, it just felt too soon, and that's where the idea started to form, as I wanted to do something so that when he was older, he would know that I was always thinking about him, anytime I was at work or not at home. In When Daddy Goes to Work, we see the dad drop his child off at preschool and then go to work for the day. The story tells us how the dad is working very hard, but still thinking about his child and wondering what they are doing. And we see the actions of the dad are being reflected by the child through the beautiful illustrations. And here to tell us more about these illustrations is Anna Terreros-Martin. Anna?
Thanks, Paul. Hello everyone, I'm Anna and I'm the illustrator of When Mummy Goes to Work and When Daddy Goes to Work. I had so much fun working on the illustrations for this lovely series of books. When Daddy Goes to Work is the first of the 2 books I worked on, and I instantly fell in love with Paul's text. It took me back to when I was little and I would wonder what my dad did at work. I loved to sit in his big desk chair at work and draw, pretending I was working too, and I think this influenced some of the illustrations in the book, where you can see Alexis mirroring what Daddy is doing at work. When starting to work on the illustrations of the book, I had to find the right character for both Alexis and Daddy. I think this is my favourite part of the process because there are so many possibilities. I did this by drawing lots and lots and lots of characters, and together with our amazing designer Kieran and editor Joe, we chose one we liked and started to develop them further until we were happy. I then worked on creating the rough pencil sketches of the different page spreads, working closely with the designer Kieran to get the composition and layout of the illustrations to a stage we were happy with before taking it to the final artwork. But before I show you how I did the final artwork for both books, Paul would like to tell you a bit more about When Mummy Goes to Work. Back to you, Paul.
Thanks, Anna. For When Mummy Goes to Work, we wanted to tell a slightly different story, and we wanted to give Mum a job that was both empowering and a bit exciting. So together with our editor, Joanna McGinney, we decided to make Mum a paramedic. This was all decided and written pre-COVID, so it's great to have a story in particular for all the mums who work in healthcare, who have sacrificed so much over this past year and a half. This time, Mum leaves her child with grandparents, and for us this was a really great opportunity to show the love and relationship that a child can have with their grandparents. And the illustrations beautifully reflect this. Anna, over to you again.
Thanks, Paul, and hi again. When I first found out that the mum in When Mummy Goes to Work was a paramedic, I was very excited because both of my parents also work in healthcare, so I found it very inspiring and comforting, especially as I started working on the board books during the pandemic in lockdown, when everything was a little bit scary and uncertain. As promised, I'll show you how I created the final artwork for the books. The materials I used to create the artwork were watercolour paints, coloured pencils and a graphite pencil. I would draw sections of the illustrations and then assemble them digitally on Photoshop and tidy the image up. This is the illustration that will later be on the cover of When Mummy Goes to Work. You can see Mummy and Sammy walking. So I would scan that into the computer and then pop it into Photoshop. And then I do different elements for the background and also scan them in and pop them into Photoshop, and it would create the front cover of the book. And you can see that is how I worked for pretty much all of the illustrations. There's grandparents waving goodbye to Mummy. There's Grandma with Sammy playing doctors in their den. And you can see all the tiny elements that I would then edit together to create the final image. Other images, I would do pretty much the whole illustration together and then add the background in later. And you can move things around as well, so it just gives that extra freedom. So my favourite part of making the artwork for When Mummy Goes to Work was drawing Sammy and everything she was getting up to with her grandparents when Mummy is at work. It was also so lovely to see Sammy and Mummy have their time together at the end of the day. I really enjoyed drawing all of the details in Sammy's room while Mummy and Sammy snuggled up together to read in bed. So I hope you enjoyed seeing how the illustrations for When Daddy Goes to Work and When Mummy Goes to Work were created. And back to you, Paul.
If you are a working parent, we hope that you are able to relate to these stories, and most of all, we hope that your children are able to see how much you love them and think about them, even when you are not with them. Thank you.